All right, welcome back. So we are going to take a look at the official Darktide gameplay trailer for the new game coming from Fat Shark. They're the ones who did Vermintide II. All right, nobody else wants to hear my. Let's get going. That's definitely a Hive world. Alright, so right there, like, what does that, like, scream when you look at it? Because I don't see 40k, I see something else.
No? You don't think so?
Except for the Imperial Eagle on the left, with, the one blind eye looking back, I think, or in the open eye looking forward. Like, that's the only thing in there that screams 40k. The rest of it, to me, says Cyberpunk. Blade Runner.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I'd say this.
I'd
say this definitely. I'd say this
I can see
definitely
Blade
looks
Runner.
like the underbelly of like either a splicer cult or whatever. Like under a development.
Oh, like a gene stealer cult?
Yeah.
In fact, I think that's one of the things that you fight in this game.
Yeah.
And so for people who don't know, and I'll be honest, I don't know as much about those as I do about some other stuff, but essentially it's like a colony, and it has, I believe, sort of like a, oh my god, what would you call it? Not mind altering, mind controlling effect, and they eventually like turn into gene stealers even, I think. It's a whole lot to it, but again, they're like 40k's answer to the Skaven. So, like, yeah.
Yeah.
This reminds me.
I'd
of
definitely
Shadowrun,
say that this is
honestly.
at home in 40k because this is definitely the underbelly of a large, like, technological development.
All right. Well, let's see what happens here. I was curious what you guys thought, but that was good. All right, that screams 40k. Ooh. All right, after the first bit of gameplay, initial
Borderlands
impressions?
40k.
I know what weapon I'm not going to use. I'm not using that damn chainsword.
Right? Okay.
Well, no, it's cool. Like, what it does is cool, but, like, when I actually start doing the harder content in the game, like, one of the important things in Vermintide is a weapon that you can cancel into a block freely, and you probably can't cancel the rev from your chainsaw,
that's
like
like
once
a
it gets
fully
going,
metal
into a
weapon,
block
I feel
freely.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. It should also be like a fear-inspiring
Berserker.
weapon. Like, it's hard to tell, but one thing that stood out to me were the really not impressive sound effects. Like, if you go back, listen to the chainsword. Like, if you read the books or anything, like, obviously fans are going to be a bit over
Yeah,
the
you
top
were
with
mentioning
it,
something
but
about a certain gun sounding like angels screaming in pain or some shit like that. So, I mean, I'm trying
well,
to...
the bolter is supposed to be so loud that, like, normal people, normal humans, beyond the fact that it would snap their arm off to fire the gun, because of the kickback, the sound would deafen them, because the sound of the propellant igniting at the back of the RPG when it leaves the barrel gives it this god-awful scream that, like, sends it towards the target. The closest I think I've seen to, like, the sort of the grandiose explanations was the Astartes video. Like, when you see it erupt against that void shield. That was really impressive. I really enjoyed that. But, like, listen to the chainsword. Like, it should... The chainsword that they're talking about is nothing like a chainsaw, by the way.
Go back 5 seconds.
5 seconds? Okay.
Yeah.
A chainsword is like really super fast monofilament that's supposed to like just rip right through whatever it saws into. And the hammer sounded flat.
I don't even hear the sword. They all have the same splat.
So then that tells me that sounds aren't in the game.
I don't know.
It's-
I mean,
it's something
Vermintide was
Alpha,
the same
that's
way.
okay.
Yeah.
Other than a small handful of weapons, they sound the same.
Do you think though that might be because they used that to build the base to this game quickly, and that hopefully they're going to kind of go back and then?
I think it's because
I
the
hope so. I don't
game
wanna
is
see
being
that.
made by
Yeah.
a small company.
Yeah, but they've done a lot after the release of Vermintide, so I do have hope there. And it is me nitpicking, but like it made it feel flat to me.
Yeah, this is also a game that doesn't have a release date, so.
Oh, fair, okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping that it's early alpha gameplay footage where you're, reskinning a couple things, using the same sound for a couple of things. Because I agree, like that immersion is broken when you realize, okay, no matter what
And
I
that
attack with, it's the
chainsword
same
should
sound,
make
it's
this
the same
like
impact.
sort of like whistle whipping noise, and then when it hits something, it just kind of.
I don't get that problem in Vermintide because the non-stop action gets me through that. Now I think about it.
I think we'll have that in this game. We'll keep going because that was just melee.
And makes me want to take a nap.
Oh, the Ogren.
Burn the heretic, kill the mutant, purge the unclean. Master of mankind, grant us strength.
I like that someone can be that dramatic.
Hopefully he grants you
And
some
it
fucking
fits.
cover because you are at an elevated disadvantage.
Okay, they have to be changing these sounds because all those guns, with the exception of the triple burst fire one, sounded exactly the same.
And terrible. But
it's Vermintide's the
I
same.
want to keep up a lot.
even then, I feel like they'll.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm not
a
saying
good
it's a good
argument,
argument, but I mean, I don't play Vermintide for the sound.
I want to hope that hope is what drives the hype train, and it also causes it to derail. So I'm wary of it,
I feel like. Yeah.
Because like all I really care about when I play Vermintide is the lines from the characters, the music in the game, and the actual levels themselves. I don't really care about what the weapons sound like because it's drowned out by everything else.
I'd play the game like a game like this. I would play literally just to cave skulls in after a hard day's work, However, now that it's been pointed out, and I'm never going to be able to unhear these noises, it's a problem for me.
I'm sorry. I do that, man. I'm an ass.
So,
Yeah.
we haven't told you about the Easter Bunny.
Yeah, ass.
But the thing is, what I really did like though, like if you look at the graphics, they are crisp.
Yeah.
And they looked good. Like if you look
They are
at the
pretty
lighting
clean.
in the hallway when he was shooting at the cultists that were coming down, like it looked good. And then right there, like that's pretty solid for alpha. And what I do know that they do well is the gore. That's going to be there. And I hope that there's more fast-moving, more ranged combat in this, because that would make it so much more fun.
Is it too clean though? Because you're smashing someone's head in with that gun. Won't you get some blood on it? And I mean, I don't know any games that'll really do that. But I don't know. Like they look clean, but they look maybe a little too clean.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing in Vermintide. Like Vermintide, you get blood on your weapons.
I doubt they have much motion blur attached to them yet either. Like they look like they like if we watch the clip, I think they almost look like they sort of stay in motion. So yeah, they're definitely not finished. The lighting from the stage isn't even seeming to affect them. Like if you look at that last gun, I think it was like an auto gun. Jesus Christ! All right. You can see that there's no lighting in the stage affecting the gun itself right here. Or at least
Like
it
there's a
looks
little bit of the red reflecting off of that gun, but that's from its own bullet, so that's programmed.
muzzle flash. Yeah. Like there's definitely still a lot there, I think. But
she's gone.
oh, I just want to play a game in a Hive City. All right, so I know that he's an Ogren mercenary. She looks like oh, I can't remember what they're called. Sigmarite. Over the top violence.
I mean,
that is the
Yeah,
hallmark
gotta
of 40k.
say,
That's what makes it
Warhammer,
fun.
man.
Oh,
Yeah, so
Xbox.
that was
Were they
the
one of the,
Xbox version of it. I know.
The trailer was originally shown off a year and a half ago during an Xbox, was
Probably.
it E3 or something? I think it was Microsoft's showing at E3 or some shit.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
that makes sense then.
But yeah, it was back in 2019.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem like there is a lot. I mean, how much have they released on that? You know what? Let's do that later. Let's look into.
There's only one other video for Darktide.
Yeah, and that one is basically just the intro to that one, where they're sort of walking down the hallway, right? And then they see
Well, it's a demonstration of what the in-game engine is
Okay.
what it's all about.
Well, I'm interested to hear more about it. Like, I would like to maybe, do a video on it in the future. But as a reaction, I actually kind of enjoyed that. Because I think we pointed out some pretty crucial things. Like, instead of just,
I don't think those sounds are going to change.
I think you're right.
They're
I
not
think
going to
you're right.
change. They're not going to change. That's not going to be something that they care about when it comes to getting that game.
I think you might be wrong, man. Because I really feel that like what'll happen is once they release it, they'll go down from, say they're like a 20-man team or a 30-man team. They'll go down to being like a 10 or a 12-man team, or maybe even less. But they'll still have somebody who's dedicated to music, and that person
Right.
will
but
go back
like,
and master some of those sounds.
But I'm saying like the game's gonna launch sounding like that.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way that they're gonna go back and change that.
I think they'll
like,
maybe
right
add
now.
a bit more bass into some of them because they just felt flat.
They'll polish
Like
it.
that hammer, like the sound or the visual effect on the hammer was fantastic. The sound effect was terrible.
Yeah, I mean they're going to launch it with the same audio system that's going to be in Vermintide II, where the Great Hammer sounds the exact same as the Rapier, that sounds the exact same as the Great Sword.
See, and that's the sad part, is because there's someone totally willing to sit there and take a bunch of different items and smack meat with it to get those sound effects and put it in a game.
I just don't think they have.
I forgot how they make the
Right.
Foley for it until you said that, and I was like, "Oh God!"
Oh, they're not going to.
I just don't think they have. Well, this is a studio that doesn't have that much money.
They don't have the
time
luxury
to do
of
that right now.
doing that, and I get it. So I mean, I'm not poo-pooing on them by any means. Don't get me wrong, but
I am a little bit because they felt like stock assets.
I mean, it was.
I mean, if they
Well,
were,
yeah, they have. But I mean, they don't have the money, and I shouldn't say they don't have the money, but it's like that's time invested where they could instead be polishing something else that's
Yeah.
more important to
yeah,
more players.
I get it. They've got to make sure
Because
the core
the-
elements work.
The gameplay and the look of the game is going to be more important to the hundreds of thousands and millions of people that are going to buy it, and only hundreds of thousands of people, not even that, dozens of thousands of
Now,
people are going to
what-
talk about sound effects.
With all
when
that being
millions
said, though,
buy it.
do you think that a company that does that with a game should almost, I don't want to say be obliged, but be obliged to make it so the public can mod the game?
Yeah.
Well, no, I
They
mean,
do.
I'm just not necessarily using this as an example, but just in general. Like, if a company is small, they put a game out and they really want the game to be its very best. Do you think they should have to do that, like, just by etiquette?
No.
Depends on the game.
I mean, etiquette and being actually forced by law.
No,
are
no.
totally
Yeah, no, I don't mean
different
anything
for
forced by
companies, so-
law, but, like, if you put out a great
Like-
game and someone's just like, hey, man, I really don't like the graphics on those gloves. Maybe I could go in there and make some better ones so everyone can use them. Like, really make this game as good as it should be, even if it's not necessarily from the company that made it.
If it's single
Yeah.
player,
Oh yeah, yeah. It has to be.
As soon as it's multiplayer, modding is out.
Right.
Because
Agreed.
that involves scripting and code, and you can change.
Like I mean, like Skyrim was a great game, and it was even better because you could mod it. Just use that as an example.
Yeah, and
actually, that's a.
But I mean, like,
example.
what they're going to more than likely do with Darktide is what they do with Vermintide, which is it's available for modding, but you can only launch it in a mod-safe environment. You can only matchmake with people in a mod-safe environment.
Yeah, and you can't.
Like you're in your
Like
own
Lineage 2
instance and your own.
Oh God!
Yeah,
there's another
actually.
MMO that was so good.